Shalom. First, I start off by giving all glory and honor to Yahweh by Hashem, Yahushai, by Hashem, Rakakdash. Double honors to teachers, elders, and the boss of Great Millstone, likewise, brothers, putting on this truth. Faithfully, fearlessly feeding the sheep and two brothers and sisters tuning in. Shalom. Today's lesson is titled Deletion of Jakes is Their Plan. Now, I open up with a short little clip there showing Jakes, in a spirit of mirth. Okay, and the crazy thing about it is that you would think men, in this age category, which would be considered middle age and upper, would have a little bit more wisdom. They've lived through, oppression here in Great Babylon, America. They've lived through the civil rights movement. They've seen a lot of things that, the young Jakes of today, just Gen Z, may be ignorant of. They've only read about it, but they haven't really experienced it, close up at the level that the elder Jakes, have. Okay. But instead, what we have is a lot of old fools. This is the book of Ecclesiastes 7, and starting verse 4 reads, "The heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of fools is in the house of mirth. It is better to hear the rebuke of the wise than for a man to hear the songs of fools." Now, these people, our people, I should say, they're not lending ear, to the prophets, men that they deem low status in society, men that are just maybe angry, that they didn't receive the benefits of Great Babylon, America. And of course, you brothers may have experiences when you talk to one of these old fools, if they have the little 401k, little savings, or get that little retirement plan in place there like that, man, they think that they have made it here in Great Babylon, America. And this is why you see, a lot of this type of dancing, and it's not only, Jake, of the so-called Negro kind or Latino kind, you have Specklebird Jake too out there doing the exact same thing. They don't understand, the plots and the plans of Esau the Edomite, the so-called white man. It says, "For as the crackling of thorns under a pot, so is the laughter of the fool. That is also vanity. Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad, and a gift destroy the heart." The first thing when I saw these clips, this is what came to mind. This is Isaiah 56, and that verse 10 reads, "His watchmen are blind. They are all ignorant. They are all dumb dogs. They cannot bark, sleeping, lying down, loving to slumber. Yea, they are greedy dogs which can never have enough, and they are shepherds that cannot understand. They all look to their own way, everyone for his gain from his quarter." And if you've dealt with these type of men in the world, these especially these middle-aged men like this, they feel really good about their little accomplishment in life, and basically self-serving, self-centered, and ignorant, to the plans of the enemy. I ask the question, would you want these type of men? Because this is who Yasharah like to look at, because they're in that spirit. They like to look at these type of men. I ask you, would you like these type of men to be your watchmen, or the true watchmen that the Lord Yahweh has set up? These men and women, so to speak, they haven't woken up. They don't understand, that this devil is plotting. You go into the book of Psalms 55 and 21, it reads, "The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn sword." So these people always sit down, constantly thinking of ways and how they can slay the children of Israel. Remember, Genesis 27 and 41, what did Esau say? He said that he's going to pursue his brother Jacob when the time is right. Well, that time is now. We are in a time of great death, a time to kill. And we're seeing how this man right now, through his legislation, his laws that he's changing, they're taking their society into a technical society using AI, and it's just going to be a matter of time before we see these cyborgs walking the streets, policing the streets of Great Babylon, America. That Jakes are going to start to realize, wait a minute, maybe there's some truth to this, because what Jakes like to do is they put their finger in the air when they're dealing with the man of the Lord, because they don't want to hear, the words of destruction that's going to come upon, the sinful children of the Lord, Yahweh Shema Shai, so-called blacks and Americans and Latinos, but they keep their ear open, to the agenda of the so-called white man, his promises of good things, you're gonna prosper, we're gonna make America great again, you're gonna have so much money you don't know what to do with it, all these things, and this is especially, even during slavery, you had the house coon, and then you have the field Negroes, and of course the house coon, what did he do, or she do, ensure that the master, knew all of the plans of escape, from the field Negroes that were out there that, were not pleased with their life or their condition, and this is what we have going on today, let's go to the book of Ecclesiasticus 12, and verse 12 reads, set him not by thee, lest when he had overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place, neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat, and thou at the last remember my words, and be pricked therewith. Who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent, or any such as come nigh wild beasts? Esau is like a serpent. He's very charming. They're very charming. They promise you, you know what happened to Eve in the garden. Eve was, beguiled, fooled. And he's used Eve to this day, to continuously hold down the children of Israel. But he's also a wild beast. He's slick like a serpent. Smooth words. They can give you every doggone thing. But at the same time too, when he's bored with you, or when he just have had his way with you, he's like a wild beast. And what does a wild beast do? It seeks to destroy you, gobble you up, tear you to pieces. And when you allow this man into your life, and the way they did that. Because up until the 60s of those civil rights movement, those marches, our people were very suspicious of the so-called white man. Didn't trust him. They knew about the slavery. This is the generations that came after, so-called emancipation. But they knew better than to cross paths, or to try to integrate with the so-called white man, and his people. But with Martin Luther King coming along, he's like, hey, no, we should join hands. We can benefit from joining hands. We can benefit from integration. And what you have today, Esau is in every facet and every lifestyle that Jake has right now. So much so you can't even tell the difference between who's who, whether you're looking at an Edomite or a Jake, because, of course, they all act like wild beasts, man, And people, again, these old guys, here they are partying, man. They're in that mirth spirit. They're not they're not utilizing the experience at all. Of course, the Lord Yahweh Shema didn't choose them out of the world. He's left them there into the world so that they're going to be the example of when the Lord rejects you. This is 1 Peter 5 and verse 8 reads, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walking about seeking whom he may devour. Well, if you're, charmed by the serpent, and you're ignoring what the wild beast is doing to the tribes out there currently right now, you can just see it in the headlines, and you can see what he's doing to these other tribes that are here. Then you're not sober. You're not vigilant. You're not watching. We cannot depend on these old dudes here to look out for Yahshua. We cannot, and you people out there that are depending on these type of people, here's what's going to happen to you. Let's close up with the book of Ezekiel 33, verse 1. It reads, again, the word of the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai came unto me, saying, Son of man, speak to the children of thy people, and say unto them, when I bring the sword upon the land, if the people of the land take a man off their coast, and set him for their watchman, if when he seeth the sword come upon the land, he blow the trumpet and warn the people, then whosoever heareth the sound of the trumpet and taketh not warning, if the sword come and take him away, his blood should be upon his own head. So it's going to be your fault. So the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai has not chosen these as his men to go out there on the highway and the byway, or to bring out this gospel and this truth. These are the ones you see, that go to church, they get the pastor the collection plate, they dance, they get the 10-piece band, and the food stand afterward. And these are your Christianity jakes out there. These are the typical kind right here. So they think this is kind of a spiritual thing right here. Okay, but he set up men, okay, that are austere, okay, that are righteous, that is not going to sugarcoat anything, to go there and give that hornet to blow and say, look, man, this man, pursuing the Genesis 27:41, say he wants to kill all of us at some point in time. We're in that time right now. He has the technology, the ability to do it. Drones that can fly over anywhere, and shoot poison darts at us, or just blow Jakes up, and we seeing what he's doing right now. Okay, so if you're not listening to the fact that the Lord Yahweh Shemashai is going to destroy Great Babylon, America, he's going to punish the so-called white man, and in essence, he's going to punish 2/3 of our people as he promised. Okay, then the blood is going to be on your own head if you're caught up in it. Okay, continuing, it says, he heard the sound of the trumpet and took not warning. His blood should be upon him. But he that taketh warning shall deliver his soul. We took the warning. This is why you see the expansions of the brothers going out in the highway and the byway right now, because the brothers that you see going out there as individuals, as a small group, or even a large camps, okay, took warning, took heed to the trumpet that was blown. Okay, and also, we pray that we are the chosen men of the Mashiach, who is set up as watchmen, okay, to warn Yasharallah. Continuing, it says, but if the watchmen see the sword come and blow not the trumpet, and the people be not warned, if the sword come and take any person from among them, he's taken away in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at the watchman's hand. Again, I say, can you depend on these type of men? Are these the type of men that's going to blow the horn? Are these the type of men that's going to blow the trumpet? No, they're not. Okay, we are those men. Okay, and if we don't do our work, the Lord Yahweh Shemashai is going to hold us accountable. Okay, but we are doing our work. So guess who's being held accountable? You are held accountable. These men are going to be held accountable for their own demise when the time comes. Okay, so this lesson has been deletion of Jakes is their plan. While you Jakes are partying, they're drawing the sword. Okay, Lord willing, the elect was edified. That goes by giving all glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem, Rakakadash, Shalom.